we go on this road trip. Dodgers and Cardinals facing off in the first of 4 on this Memorial Day afternoon. It is a beautiful day here in St. Louis with the temperature climbing into the low 80s as the Cardinals take the field, coming off a road trip that did not go well for Mike Matheny's bunch. St. Louis has dropped 8 of its last 11, and that included losing 2 of 3 at Dodger Stadium last week. How about the Dodgers starting lineup, brought to you by Honda? Logan Forsythe will lead it off with Corey Seager, the reigning Rookie of the Year, batting second. Grandal's the 3-hitter. Gonzalez bats cleanup. Then Chris Taylor, one day after he hit third, slides down to the 5-hole. Bellinger hits 6th. Utley in the 7th spot. Puig right hitting 8th. And Rich Hill doing the pitching and batting 9th. All of that against Mike Leake, who the Dodgers saw on Wednesday last week. He was the lone Cardinal starter to beat Los Angeles, held him to a run over 8 innings. And well, it was nothing personal, because that's what he's done to everybody.
He sure has. Fastball, cutter, slider, curve, change, and the percentages of what he throws and when has not changed from 2016 to 2017. But the effectiveness has gone way up, especially with the cut fastball. Getting a lot more swings and misses with that, and is really dominating right-handed hitters.
He's made 9 starts, all of them quality starts, which means at least 6 innings and 3 runs or fewer allowed. The only pitcher in baseball that's done that. And brings in the top earned run average in the National League to face these Dodgers. They won 9 of 11. Start the day a game and a half back of the Rockies in the West. Lone hit for Logan since coming back from the DL was the game winner in extra innings against St. Louis last week. Off we go with a sinker for strike 1. Dodgers offense as a group, number 2 in baseball this month, averaging just shy of 6 runs per game. That included the 9-run outburst yesterday, riding the long ball in the finale against the Cubs.
The lineup today against Mike Leake will have 6 left-handers, including Rich Hill, a left-handed hitter, if you can call him that.
Generous corner, 1 and 2.
He gets that corner, it's going to be a long day for the Dodger offense. That's like insta-ground ball out there low and away just off the plate.
Softly hit off the end of the bat. Paul DeYoung, his first major league start, coming here at second base. And he throws out Forsythe for the first out of the game. That's kind of the thing, though, with sinker ballers, right? I mean, if they're down, if they're getting calls at the bottom of the zone and on the corners, there's not a whole lot you can do offensively.
Once they get those calls early, they don't need to continue to get them, because the hitters will start swinging. So if the umpire establishes that type of strike zone, it's going to be really hard for hitters to not offer at those low pitches.
A strike on Seager.
Leake's the one establishing it right now. I think the first thing at home from the center field camera is you will just go, wow, this guy has tremendous movement. And the combination he used on Forsythe with the sinker away on the outer edge, which was a ball really on our pitch cast, and then throwing the cut fastball, it's hard to sting those.
A pop up into left for Tommy Pham. 2 up and 2 down here in the first.
And 2 outs on cut fastballs, 1 to a righty low and away, and that one kind of up and in to Corey Seager. The whiff percentage and the contact velocity has really gone down in 2017 on that particular pitch.
With the bases empty and 2 out, here's Yasmani Grandal, who's the #1 hitter in the National League over the last month. And a ground ball in the first pitch that he sees. That is a lightning quick first inning. On 8 pitches, Mike Leake retires the Dodgers in order. Rich Hill trying to have a bounce back outing. Takes the ball, and you come back. Cardinals ready to bat on this Memorial Day for the first time. Looking good. Here's the starting lineup. It's brought to you by Honda. Dexter Fowler's at the top of it. Their offseason acquisition, signed that big contract. The disappointment so far, though. Tommy Pham hits second and starts in left. Then Matt Carpenter. In the middle, it's Jerko, Molina, and Diaz. Paul DeYoung, Jose Martinez, and a good hitting pitcher in Mike Leake. Well, Wednesday against these Cardinals, Hill allowed 5 runs over 4 innings. He issued a career-high 7 walks. And afterwards used the words embarrassing, terrible, unacceptable to describe his own outing.
Took personal responsibility for the outing and really is searching a little bit in his practice sessions with Rick Honeycutt for some rhythm, for some timing, a couple of mechanical adjustments that he's working on. I do not think the red uniform of the Cardinals is going to affect him as far as a bad memory. I think he's going to be so consumed with himself early on in this outing about executing pitches, it doesn't matter who the hitter is.
No excuses to have the uniform bother him because they're wearing green this time, so he can forget about what he saw last Wednesday. Different group. Dexter Fowler goes after the first pitch, strike 1. You mentioned the mechanical tinkering that Rich Hill planned to do this weekend. How much realistically can a guy tinker and adjust from one start to the next?
Well, you play catch every day. You have one side session with your pitching coach. You watch video, and then you start to work on what you think is going wrong. And for Rick Honeycutt, for Rich Hill, for a lot of pitchers, the earlier in the delivery you find the fix, the better, because then the later part of the delivery you can compete. So when he's standing on the rubber to when he takes his step back to when he separates his hands, that's about when they really want to make the adjustments.
And he makes quick work of Dexter Fowler, fanning him on 3 pitches.
High fastball. And talking to Rick about Rich, he reminded Rich that almost any time last year, if he wanted to throw his fastball away to a righty, he just went and did it. And anytime he wanted to throw a curveball for a strike, he went and did it. So they looked at the videos from those 2 pitches and said, let's not look at all your deliveries. Let's look at the basic ones.
Tommy Pham, strike 1.
Let's keep it real simple and build a foundation again, something you can be confident in that you can go out and compete with. And so they looked at those deliveries, figured out a couple little things they wanted to work on, and they've been pounding it for about 3 days prior to this outing.
All of that is to say the blister not an issue. Well, Dave Roberts even admitted that he started to wonder about that during Hill's outing last Wednesday. Didn't look like himself. No issues with it last week, and you hope that the increased humidity here in St. Louis doesn't lead to a pop-up of it here.
I don't think I can jinx somebody that's thrown 5 strikes in a row. Only 5 pitches, got a chance for an immaculate inning.
Wow.
It's got to be this one though. Okay.
Oh my
I jinxed
gosh,
him.
well done. Kill him, Twitter.
I just want the outing to be realistic. We don't want to start it out.
1 ball and 2 strikes
way.
on Pham. We had a lightning quick first inning even in that horrendous outing last week. Needed only 5 pitches. Retire the Cardinals in order. It was the second inning where unraveled on it. A 1-2 to Pham.
Most guys who have trouble throwing strikes, it's a rhythm issue. And usually the rhythm is that the arm is late, so that you are now having, instead of a release point that might be as long as a foot because your arm is in front of your body and leveraged in the correct direction, so you have a lot of release points to keep the ball on the plate, you have a very small one when your arm is late.
Pham yanks that one foul. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So then you usually look for in your mechanics ways to get your arm out in front. So when you release the ball, and a lot of times that can be a higher leg kick, that can be breaking your hands early before you go to home plate. So the arm is actually now faster than the body. When they say a guy's rushing, that body's going really fast towards home plate, but the arm and the hands haven't broken yet, it ends up late.
Little jam shot. Easy play on the right side of the infield for Gonzalez, and 2 away. That seems like something, though, if you thought about it too much, you could do the opposite and become even more mechanical when you're thinking about.
Well, when you first start adjusting mechanics from such a bad outing as Rich had, it does feel mechanical. It feels awkward because it feels real natural to be late. You're upset with the results, but what you're doing at the beginning feels like the right thing. But you find out at the end it's not. So when you make the change to be earlier with your upper body, with your arm, with your breaking of your hands, it's going to feel awkward, like, whoa, I'm out of sorts. But it time's up at the end, you go, oh, I like that feeling.
Matt Carpenter takes the ball.
So let's just hope he can get the rhythm this inning and get in a rocking chair and really go toe-to-toe with Mike Leake and these Cardinals.
He's falling behind him 2-0. Carpenter elite as far as the walk rate. He's hitting for power, leading the team with 9 homers. And Mike Matheny was asked about that combined with a low average earlier this weekend. And he said, look, in this day and age, that's what a good player is. A guy with a high OPS as opposed to a high average. So you look and you see the 224 average. That's not where they're going to evaluate the kind of season Matt Carpenter's having. Where they're looking is the on-base plus slugging. And by that measure, it's been a pretty good year.
The more old school you are and looking at stats, that's going to be harder to swallow. The more new school in stats that you are, it's not going to be hard to swallow. And that could be motivation in different places of why trades happen now. You have an old school team and maybe front office. They have the sabermetric guys, but those guys don't have a lot of pull. And then you have organizations that both halves have a lot of pull. The gray-haired guys have a lot of pull with the new guys.
3-2.
And then you have the ones that are fully on the sabermetric side. I think we have a nice combination in LA of both. Of looking at the numbers and also looking at the heart and the grind out type players. And what a great manager we have in Dave Roberts to accentuate the grind out part of a player.
And to be able to blend both sides of it.
Yes.
That'll pop into short center field. Logan Forsythe, Corey Seager actually goes back on it and makes the catch to finish a 1-2-3 first inning for Rich Hill.
I have. It's interesting. You go up in like a little space capsule type thing, and it levels you about every 10 or 20 feet. It re-levels you because as you go up the curve of the arch, of course, you'd be halfway upside down if it didn't bring you back. So it's like it's not real fun, that part. The view's great.
Adrian Gonzalez smacks a base hit into left field to open the second.
When they establish the talent, they bring us on camera. Maybe I'll just do the whole demo with my arm.
Right,
and how
sound
it levels
effects.
you out. Sound effects
On top of the actual.
Yeah.
Producer Mike Levy just said, "Oh, camera's broken." It's okay. We got the sound effects in. I'm sure you can top that. Here's Chris Taylor.
The view would be on my bucket list. The ride up is not.
And I heard if you're claustrophobic at all, no fun.
No. Not for you.
Ball one.
Buy the postcards.
Yeah, right.
But if you love baseball, this has got to be a destination for you to come watch the Dodgers or come watch the Cardinals play here.
Fly ball to right. Jose Martinez. 1 out. Take a look at the Land Rover Performance Spotlight as Cody Bellinger comes to the plate. Another home run yesterday. And became the fastest Dodger ever to reach 10 home runs. He did it in 31 games. 13 games faster than anybody else.
I mean, the fact that he's #1 now, we have to watch to see who's the fastest to get to 20. See where he ranks on that, because he might get there in another month.
He's been here for a little more than half of this season, and he leads the team in home runs and in RBIs. Leake comes home, and Bellinger looks at a high strike. Thought that was interesting that the previous fastest to 10 home runs for the Dodgers was David Ross. We had some fun talking about during the Cubs series. He of Dancing with the Stars fame.
Yeah, not a world champion for the Cubs.
Yeah,
break
that
the
was the
curse or
joke.
anything like that,
Yeah.
or a 7th game of the World Series home run off Andrew Miller, one of the toughest lefties in baseball. I'm with you, though. He might be kind of infamous for the Dancing with the Stars stuff.
He is definitely the most successful third-string catcher post-playing career ever. Runner at first with one gone, and a 1-1 pitch in the dirt, stopped by Molina.
Interesting right here, the Cardinal defense, that Cody Bellinger's pretty much a dead pull hitter, and they're not really shifting over there for him. And you've got a very slow runner at first that you've got plenty of time to get to second base to possibly turn the double play.
Fly foul, and it's 2-2. I think the outfield was even shading him to the opposite field.
I know it's they're playing him pretty straight up, and with all the at bats that we've seen, I don't have the recorded data in front of me, but I foresee Cody as being a guy that now they're moving over. Pulls the ball an awful lot.
Well, he's also shown the ability to bunt for hits against the shift. Now that ability's taken away for the most part with 2 strikes. Full count.
The man on first and left-handed pull hitters, or even right-handers that go the opposite way, I think with all the shifting that goes on now in the data, it's about, a lot of times for me, the speed of the runner on first. How much time do I have to get the second base so I can get farther away from it and still get an out and get the lead runner?
A payoff, and Bellinger hits a ground ball to short. There's 1 and 2. So Bellinger grounds into a double play against one of the best ground ball inducers in baseball. No score, middle 2.
Backstage Dodgers. Yasiel Puig hosts a charity poker tournament to benefit his Wild Horse Foundation. Plus, get to know Andrew Toles and his dad as Toles preps for surgery. That's a sad subject, but we hope he comes back. And don't miss Backstage Dodgers presented by Hankook Tires Thursday after the post-game show on Sportsnet LA. I thought my tone was a little too happy talking about preparing for surgery.
Here's Jerko. Ball one. He already had the surgery though,
I know.
You know,
and it
yeah,
went well.
I thought you were okay. All right.
Miss Tolsey.
Yeah. The whole team does.
Yeah.
1 ball and 1 strike. Rich Hill with a 1-2-3 first inning, and you liked some of the things you saw as far as the mechanical and the rhythm tweaks.
Sure did, and he is getting some fixes over the rubber where he's getting his hands up a little bit, getting them separated. I think the leg kick is a little stronger, giving him more time. Looks like he's very disciplined over the rubber and trying to make sure he gets separated, and as he moves towards home plate, as the kick leg comes down, that the hands and the arms are breaking, so that the arm gets free and then can get out front.
2-2, and you mentioned too during the commercial break that he really maybe just now is getting into a season. You know, he had his first start on April 5th, left after 75 pitches with a blister, left after 54 pitches with a blister 2 weeks later, missed a month, and now finally getting into a groove here where he's making a 3rd consecutive start.
Yeah, it just does seem like this is a few starts into a season for Rich Hill, and it's completely different. Opening days for guys are different than coming back from the All-Star break. Playoff baseball is different from, you know, a regular season start, but there are starts. If let's say you're going to get 33, I would say 25 of them are like these are season starts where you're just trying to find consistency, rhythm, and execute pitches, and that's what he looks like he's accomplishing.
Induces a pop-up from Jerko. Gonzalez puts it away. That is the 3rd softly hit pop-up out of the first 4 batters. Another batter was a strikeout. So 4 up and 4 down for Hill, and Yadier Molina to the plate.
It looks like he's calmed his pulse too down out there on the mound. You know, usually we see the feisty Rich Hill that's attacking and jumping, and
I think that could be set off at any moment by a borderline pitch in a big spot not going his way. That's a strike on Molina. And let's be honest, that's part of what we love about watching Rich Hill.
once he establishes that rhythm and feels like it's going to happen naturally, I think you'll see some of those emotions come back, that intensity. But if you add gasoline to broken mechanics, it ends up like the last outing, walking 7.
Got in on Molina, got ahead of him 0-2. These guys are old opponents when Hill was with the Cubs. In fact, Hill hadn't faced the Cardinals in a decade before his outing against them last week. Saw him a bunch in his first few years in the majors in Chicago. Facing Molina, carrying in a 16-game hitting streak. Downhill 0-2.
You notice that Rich Hill has not dropped down sidearm, hasn't even gone low 3/4 yet. In his last outing, we saw that right away. And we saw it a lot after he started walking people because he was just looking for any place where his arm would feel comfortable and he could throw strikes. And one of the things I think Rick Honeycutt wants him to do is to try and keep it real simple right now. Just build that foundation, and we're seeing that. He made a little hesitation with his leg kick right there, but it just gives him a little time.
Molina drives the ball left center field. Bellinger back to make the catch. On the edge of the track, first well hit ball against Hill is out number 2.
Right down Pacific Coast Highway right there. That one is very hittable. And lucky to get it back. And that'll wake him up that this is not a side work and not just about rhythm. This is about competition.
Your point about him dropping down sidearm, as I listened to you talk about that there, it seems like it's the opposite end of the spectrum when he goes to that. It's either when he's feeling really good, has a great feel, and wants to get creative to take advantage, or when he's totally searching, which is what we saw last week. Well, that missed Diaz. Takes ball one.
And you have to remember, you're talking about a guy who had an amazing year last year, so he felt good almost every start. So the creativity was because he was locked in for a full year.
Dodgers acquired him at the deadline. He finished the year with a 2.12 earned run average, second in baseball, only behind Clayton Kershaw. On 2-0. Drops one low and in. 3 balls, no strikes.
3-0, but I'm not worried that he's losing something. Those are really good misses. Just missing. Where you need to just make a little subtle adjustment, not reinvent yourself.
Against the young shortstop out of Cuba. Strike one. Diaz got off to a slow start this year, which was totally opposite of last season, when his start earned him an all-star bid. This year hit around 200 in April, but above 300 here in May. Hill's back in it after falling behind 3-0.
Notice most of the pitches here to a right-handed hitter are inside to the righty, and he's able to get the ball to that side. Well, that tells you the arm is on time and he's in the right lane. Remember last start he was high and away, curveball that didn't break, just spin out of the top of his hand. Now the timing is completely different and the pattern is different.
Comes back to strike him out again over the inside part. 6 up and 6 down for Rich Hill. Middle 2 or after 2, no score. Our booth here in St. Louis, Joe and Oral, and boy, couldn't ask for a better day for a Memorial Day baseball game here, huh?
It's a beautiful day here in St. Louis. This is quite a baseball town, and the Dodgers come in really hot, and Rich Hill looks like he's on the beam and doing well. So this day has started out fantastic here in this time zone, and I'm sure back in LA.
A strike on Chase Utley, leading off this inning against Mike Leake, who gave up a leadoff single to Adrian Gonzalez last inning, but faced the minimum thanks to a double play. 1-1. Utley, one of the hottest Dodgers. It started out where it was like, okay, he's had a good game, and then it was a nice little run, then it was a nice week. Now it's several weeks he's been swinging a hot bat. It's a high fly ball to right center field that sends Martinez back. That thing keeps on flying right on out of here. And Chase Utley has started the scoring with a solo shot in the third.
Right on cue with your story about him getting hot. And as it continues, this ball leaves the yard. Dodgers up 1-0, and this was not an easy pitch. Gets the body going, but the power came from the rotation in the hips, the separation from the shoulders, and getting those hands through.
Ball one on Puig. That's ball 2. Let's go down to Alana.
Chase Utley continuing to swing a hot bat, guys. 3 home runs in the last few days, and he comes into the dugout, and Kike Hernandez is screaming at the top of his lungs, "Silver Fox, you're the Silver Fox."
That nickname is sticking, and I love it.
Just reminds me of the hair color story.
Uh-huh.
He and Corey Seager related to home runs.
Puig with a 3-0 green light hits a bullet into center for a base hit. If you've not heard that story before, this was last year. Corey Seager had been begging Chase Utley to dye his hair black.
You wanted to see what he looked like when he was younger.
Right. And they made a bet. Utley said, okay, listen, if you hit 2 home runs tonight, I'll dye my hair black. Well, first time up, Seager homers. Because of course he does. Comes back into the dugout. Chase Utley says, all right, hold on. If I hit one, it cancels out one of your home runs. Because he still had 3 or 4 at-bats coming. So Chase is starting to get a little bit nervous about it. Corey agrees. Okay, Chase, you hit a home run. It cancels one of mine out. Well, Chase homers his first time up. Hill hits a bunt perfectly. Carpenter will throw him out. The scoring position goes Puig. Seager comes up again, 7th or 8th inning at this point, and hits another home run. And running around the bases, Justin Turner said it's as big as he's ever seen Corey smile. Rarely do you see Corey show any kind of emotion. So if there was a smile around in the bases, then yeah, I can assume it'd be one of the more wide smiles you ever saw from Corey. Got back into the dugout. Even though Chase had adjusted the bet midway through the game, he still did dye his hair black. With Corey hitting those 2 home runs in one game. And looked like the young Chase Utley for a few days. Top of the order again, Logan Forsythe taking a strike.
He dyed it with the kind that washed out if you really use strong hair, strong shampoo and
what do you know about
hot
that?
water. I know a little bit about it. My gray hair looks blonde when TV lights hit it. There goes Twitter again.
The blonde fox. Forsythe floats one to right. Martinez. 2 gone. Shows off the arm. A little bit like the guy that's standing there at second. Are you impressed, Yasiel?
I just hope that doesn't take Yasiel back to his days of not hitting the cutoff, man. He is a really refined outfielder now. We saw him in his early days where he could show that off, and you could see he's chirping about it a little bit.
With his countryman Aledmys Diaz there at short. Man at second, 2 gone, and here is Corey Seager. Tailing fastball, clipped the corner for a strike. Slide to left his first time up. After a 2-hit day yesterday in the finale. Went for the same spot but missed. 1-1.
What a great day for kids today. Get up. Maybe your parents take you to a ball game, see the game, go home, barbecue, get to play baseball yourself after watching the big leaguers play. Play catch with your dad or mom. Memorial Day is the beginning of summer.
Dodger blue here in St. Louis. Can be hard to get a ticket as a visiting fan in this park. There were plenty of cheers when Utley hit that home run here in the 3rd inning. Corey's worked ahead in the count 2-1 with a man at second and 2 gone. This is where Leake has been so good, buckling down when there's been traffic. 2-2. In fact, one of the best strand rates in baseball, meaning when guys get on, they are left on. 87% to be exact of the runners that reach base are stranded there. Now the 2-2. Seager hits a chopper up the middle into center, a base hit. This will score Puig, and the Dodgers lead 2-0 on a 2-out single from Seager.
Isn't there another stat that you noticed, that a batting average of balls in play too that might come back to the norm?
Yeah, so he is, with runners on base, experiencing, by the numbers, really, really good luck. Batting average on balls in play against Mike Leake with runners on base, 203.
Wow.
League average is 300. And it's a small enough sample size where you could roll your eyes at it.
I'm just reminded by that ball being hit by Corey right there. Just it found a hole.
Exactly. And there's more of that due, you would assume, looking at those numbers. Grandal with a man at first and 2 gone. Exit foul. There are several numbers that would tell you that Mike Leake is due some kind of regression. And it's interesting because it's kind of the opposite of last year for him. The baseline number, the ERA, was not good, but everything else told you he should have been. The script has flipped this year. High strike, 0-2. That's not to say that he's not been good. He has. It's just there are some reasons to believe he won't be this good for this long. First time this year he's allowed a hit with a runner in scoring position and 2 out.
And I see what you mean, how you equate that to luck after watching that ball dribble through the middle. Because then we go to those exit velocity stats in combination with launch angle, and you look at the percentages of how many times that type of ball of those two numbers is supposed to be a hit or has been a hit compared to other times.
They call that hit probability. Here's the 1-2. That's outside, and the count evens on Grandal. And I know that can be a lot to sit there and try and enjoy the game, eating a hot dog or whatever on Memorial Day, to wrap your mind around. A lot of numbers we're spitting out, but it's become a part of the game. Chase is here. Strike 3. But the Dodgers get 2. Chase Utley starts the inning with his 3rd home run over the last week. And then Corey Seager comes through with a 2-out base hit. 2-0 against Mike Leake. MLB.com at Bat is your #1 mobile app for live Dodger baseball. You can stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Secret game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat today. Joe, Oral, and Alana here in St. Louis. Hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend on this Memorial Day. Dodgers up 2-0 on to the bottom of the third, and Paul DeJong with his first at bat here at Busch Stadium. And in his very first swing in the majors yesterday, he went yard off Greg Holland.
What a thrill. It's thrill enough to put a big league uniform on to play, and then to do that.
Especially when you consider the lead up to it. So he was called up yesterday morning. Landed in Denver during the second inning of the game. Got in a cab, got to the ballpark around the 5th. By the time he got his uniform on, all of his stuff gathered into the dugout, it was the 7th inning. Pops one up into short center. On comes Chris Taylor for the first out of the inning. So he has time to get a scouting report from one of the hitting coaches. All right, look, if Holland falls behind you, they told him, he's going to throw you a fastball. So Holland falls behind, 2-0. Fastball, home run. Less than an hour after he got into the dugout.
Absolutely amazing. A story he will tell the rest of his life.
One away for Jose Martinez, who's freshly activated off of the disabled list. Injured his groin earlier this month. Backdoor breaking pitch, strike one. Stephen Piscotty, who is their normal starting right fielder, is away from the team still. He left for a family matter this weekend while the team was in Denver, and still not yet back on the roster. So Martinez, who has taken his time coming back from that injury, ramped it up. Similar to what we saw Adrian Gonzalez do a couple weeks back. Just 2 rehab games for Martinez, and now back in there. 1-1 from Rich Hill. Puts him ahead 1-2. Martinez made his debut last September. He was 28 years old when he finally cracked the big leagues. And has put up good numbers this year when he's been active. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Son of a big leaguer. His dad, Carlos Martinez, not the Cardinals pitcher. You know, Carlos Martinez played for a while for the Angels. You know, you can picture the home run that bounced off Jose Canseco's head.
Oh yeah,
out.
down the left field line.
Jose Martinez hit that, or Jose Martinez's dad is the one that hit that home run.
That's a good bounce.
Yeah. Depending on whose perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Rich Hill has retired the first 7 Cardinals. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the 8-hitter Jose Martinez. And back comes the left-hander. His third punch out, and that curveball has nice bite to it there for out number 2.
First pitch of this inning, it slipped out of his hand and went to the backstop. I'm like, okay, what do we got here? Is that blister, or is that mechanics? Is he just tentative, or it slipped? And all of a sudden, right back in there. The next pitch was an out, and he has settled in for the rest of this inning so far.
Talked about this when the Dodgers saw Leake last Wednesday, but he is no typical pitcher when it comes to swinging it. It's a regular Oral Hershiser up there.
Oh boy.
Strike one.
Adam Wainwright's a good hitter on this team. Mike Leake. I tell you what, the Dodgers did a number on their pitchers and their pinch hitters when they were in LA, winning 2 out of 3. Pitchers have been contributing to the St. Louis offense that doesn't rely on home runs and is looking for ways to score runs.
Hard off Grandal there, and it's 0-2. I knew that you had a silver slugger. I didn't know this until the other day, that your average that season was,
I think it was three something 56-ish or something like that.
One of the highest ever for a pitcher. That's absurd.
I had a chance. I had a chance. The great Don Newcomb, who comes out to the Dodger Stadium all the time, and love you, Don. I know you're listening and watching, but he was a great hitter. I had a great year hitting. He was a great hitter, and I had a chance to catch him for the all-time National League batting average record for pitchers. But I needed to go like 3 for 4 or 3 for 5 the last day, and I don't even know if I got a hit in my last start.
You didn't get an invitation like he did to go to Japan and play first base, be an everyday position player?
No. I got invited to go to Japan to maybe speak.
A 1-2. And Hill has gone through the order once perfectly with his 4th strikeout there. Dodgers in front of the Cardinals in this series opener, 2-0.
This time with inflammation to the SC joint in that left shoulder. So how bad is the severity?
Not too much concern. Just trying to be smart about it. I've done a lot of dumb things in my life, and so we're just trying to be smart and stay where we're at and get the information out of there, and kind of plug back in for the next start.
And guys, neither Alex Wood nor Day Roberts or Rick Honeycutt think this is going to be any more than just the 1 start on Wednesday.
Good, because that guy is rolling. Middle third of the Dodger order here in the 4th. With a 2-0 lead against Mike Leake. National League leader in ERA. Pours in strike 1 on Gonzalez.
If something is nagging or something is close to really shutting you down, you get shut down now with the 10-day DL. And it's strategy now. It's not somebody manipulating rules or playing with something. It's really strategy to keep your roster healthy. And it's about avoiding long-term injuries.
Ask the guy at the plate right now.
Right. He could play through whatever he needed to, but it got to a point where production went down and the 10-day DL was available and Cody Bellinger was playing well. So you know what? It's a new equation when you decide how hurt before you put a guy in the DL.
1 ball and 2 strikes on him.
And it was the norm to see how long you could wait before you had to put somebody on the DL, and they'd retro it 5 days, they'd retro it 7 days because it was 15, and you were just hoping that the trainers and the player could get the inflammation or the injury out of there, that you get the guy back. You'd play with a short bench for 3, 4, 5 days.
Now it tails into the zone for strike 3. That signature 2-seam movement, and Leake has his 2nd K. And other teams would be doing what the Dodgers are doing, having this constant rotation of guys going on and off the 10-day DL. But nobody else has the kind of starting pitching depth the Dodgers have to be able to utilize that.
And you're so right. And I think it's just an advantage to having a very deep and talented organization. And I think it's fantastic for Dodger fans, and it's going to be tough for other organizations at times because they don't have the quality and the depth.
Chris Taylor hits it foul, and it's 1-1.
In 1989, after we won the World Championship at '88, I had a scarred down elbow ligament. The nerve in there was scarred down, and it was 4 days of rehab to pitch the 5th day. I'm sure I would have gotten shut down real quick because I couldn't throw on the side. The arm was to the point where just playing catch even hurt, but we could nurse it along until finally around All-Star break. I said to our physical therapist, Pat Screener, I said, Pat, I don't care if I have to have surgery. I have to get this out of there or I have to get it fixed. And so he got in there and did some cross-friction massage to get the scar tissue out from '88. And it broke loose. And all of a sudden, my arm felt alive again and the pain went away. And it was just scarring from all the innings and all the work from '88.
Taylor strikes out swinging. Leake is now K'd 3 in a row after he went the first 2 2/3 without one.
And guys nowadays are not going to have to go through that as much. They're going to be able to heal up and be back on the field quickly and only miss one start or only miss a week if you're an everyday player. And they gave you 3 to heal and you couldn't, so they had to put you on the DL.
Ball one on Bellinger. Bounce into a double play his first time up. Lays off. He's ahead 2-0. Mentioned it before the game, but what a special environment for somebody like Cody to be able to play in today.
Yes. First time to come into St. Louis and to be around these fans and to come to the ballpark and see the atmosphere. The view from home plate where he is right now to center field to see the arch and the buildings of downtown and the sea of red with a sprinkling of blue. It is what you dream about when you dream about being a big leaguer.
3-0 green light and a missile down the line. That is a home run for Bellinger. His 11th. Bellinger continuing to live a dream.
Let's take a look at the Carl's Cam replay, and Cody Bellinger will watch this one for a long time. Oh, a tip of the cap and hitting it out. But boy, the view from center at home plate to see what he sees and then to hit that.
Utley now right center field towards the gap. Fowler's over to make the catch. But Cody Bellinger for the 2nd day in a row takes off. Another majestic home run and a 3-0 Dodger lead. on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the Ram 1500 Rebel. Experience the power and toughness of Ram at your local dealer. 1 week after Rich Hill allowed 5 runs over 4 innings, he's perfect through 3 and a 3-0 lead to the bottom of the 4th. Cody Bellinger supplying the latest support, his 11th home run in 32 games. Dexter Fowler hits the first pitch against Hill foul. Let's go down to Alana.
Cody Bellinger, guys, being able to be on pace to get the Rookie of the Month award for this month, the first Rookie of the Month for the Dodgers since Corey Seager did it last year in June of 2016. He came out of the clubhouse early this morning and walked into the dugout and kind of just took in Busch Stadium. He looked at me and said, "This is a really cool park." I said, "How much are you appreciating all of the firsts that you're experiencing while at this level since you've been here?" He's really enjoying all of the time here. He said, "I've always seen this park on TV. It's pretty cool to be able to play here." I said, "How are you having so much success offensively?" He said, "Just staying within my approach and his strengths."
And he's the kind of guy, Alana, to that point, that seems to be mature enough to continue to succeed on an everyday basis while also enjoying it on an everyday basis, because sometimes that's not simple. Fowler off the end of the bat into center. Chris Taylor, 1 out.
Definitely one of the benefits of being a big leaguer's son, to being exposed to this environment at a very early age and getting used to walking into a big league clubhouse and talking to big leaguers as a child to an adult, but you knowing that they're your heroes and your dad plays on the team. It's part of the learning and growing process that if you end up with enough talent to play here, it really benefits you.
1 out for Tommy Pham, and here comes Rich Hill. Ball 1. It's a story about when Clay was in the minors. Cody was 3 years old at this point, and would come into the clubhouse post game. It's 1-1, and no matter the night that Clay had, whether it was 4 for 4 or 0 for 4, first thing Cody wanted to do was go out to the field and take his BP as a 3-year-old. Always carrying a big bat around with him, big plastic bat. 2-1. And his tantrums, a lot of 2- and 3-year-olds, their tantrums come when they don't get their favorite snack or they stay up too late. His tantrums would come if for whatever reason they couldn't go hit on that given night. Hill's 2-1. Pham takes it high. 3 balls and a strike.
A little more personality coming out from Rich there. A little disappointment on that 2-1 pitch, leaving it up. Pose himself, get a little rhythm, and come back at him.
With a strike, 3-2. Walked a career high 7 last Wednesday. Base runners against him so far against his struggling St. Louis offense. Mostly to blame for this stretch where they've dropped 8 of 11. Breaking ball is just up. Ball 4.
Body language after the pitch is the body language we saw in his last start when he got squeezed a little bit on a few pitches and it seemed to have set him off. That was one of the excuses that Dave Roberts gave on the outing, is not the umpire, but Rich's reaction to some of the borderline calls. Thought it got him out of his mechanics, but I think he was so lost mechanically that just accentuated how far he was off.
And home plate umpire Mike Winters just stepped out of the dirt circle, looked over into that Dodger dugout, and put an end to whatever it was he was hearing, which I'm sure was some squawking about that last pitch not being a strike.
Good job by the coaching staff or Dave Roberts, whoever did it, to distract them from Rich's reaction so that the ire of the umpire goes away from the key ingredient to the Dodger defense out there on the mound.
Runner at first with 1 out. First Cardinals base runner, and Matt Carpenter climbs in, takes strike 1. Popped as short his first time. I think we were talking about with him, while they point to the OPS, tell you he's having a good year. It's hard to frame 5 for 39, which he is now over the last few weeks, as anything other than struggling. Two or 1-1 outside with a breaking ball.
Corey Seager over there at the shortstop hole. He was playing a little bit farther, closer to third base, but just let everybody know that a ball to the right side, he'll take second base all the way from that position on a double play ball to Utley or to Forsythe or even Gonzalez. A lot of responsibility on the left side of that field for Seager. There's Carpenter in this slump, as you just mentioned, Joe. I wouldn't put it by him to drop a bunt down over there, so he's got to be close enough to guard against a bad bunt. A good bunt, it's going to be a hit for sure. Rich Hill would almost have to fall off the mound, and he'd be closer to the bunt than Corey Seager.
Carpenter has talked about a willingness to bunt for hits. He's done it a couple times this year, more than ever before. 2-1. 31 years old. He's in his 6th full major league season and signed through 2019. Cardinals have made a habit of signing their young players to team-friendly long-term deals before they reach arbitration. Carpenter, one of those guys. Colton Wong, they did it with. Carlos Martinez, Stephen Piscotty. It's not the norm across baseball, but it is here in St. Louis. Pham at first with one gone, and a toss over there. Gets by Gonzalez on a very bright afternoon. It hits off the end of his glove and allows Pham to advance.
I am sure that Adrian Gonzalez lost that in some kind of background, either glare or a t-shirt or so. Yeah, he completely lost it. He's got some of the surest hands in baseball. Take a look at his reaction. It's just like, yeah, it's gone. Sunglasses and eye black.
Huh. No match for the mid-afternoon sun here in St. Louis. Reflection off of those bright red shirts in the grandstand. 3-1. After he'll walk Pham, he's fallen behind the 3-hitter Carpenter. Dangerous pitch. Taken for a strike. Carpenter works as deep accounts as any hitter in baseball. And I think Nomar would tell you that that sometimes gets you into problems. 5 for 39 he's in. Why put yourself into a hole, as he sometimes does?
Why turn baseball into a 2-strike game?
Yeah.
By taking one.
His thing is that until he gets to 2 strikes, he's only swinging at his pitch. He really keyholes. It's kind of a 3-0 approach throughout his at-bat. Until it reaches this point. A 3-2. And a tapper up along third that will stay foul.
So with all the data that is on pitch location and how well a hitter hits in certain locations, Wouldn't you think that the league would all of a sudden know that he takes anything but this one where he hits 350 and this one where he hits 400, and if we go to these other places, we're going to get ahead of him?
Yeah, but I think he's okay with that.
But sooner or later, you're going to make a mistake in his area. Even though you're not going for that area, you're going to make a mistake there.
Yeah, and if he says, I'm not trying to hit it, I'm trying to hit it hard. So he's looking for very particular spots to unload on. Hunter at second, one out, and another 3-2 is a front door breaker that's pulled foul.
Matt Carpenter is making Rich Hill work, but Rich Hill is gaining some confidence in his delivery because he is coming from different angles now with different pitches. Getting some reps out there with some creative deliveries and being able to throw strikes.
60 pitches deep with one out here in the fourth inning. Not been particularly efficient, even though the Cardinals yet to get a hit. And hits Carpenter here. So 2 on with 1 out, and it brings up Jed Jerko.
The only base runners for the Cardinals are on free passes. This one's not quite as free as a walk. You pay with a little pain on the right elbow.
Rick Honeycutt's first visit coming here.
Interesting that Rick hasn't done much talking out there. Chase Utley doing a lot. Yasmani Grandal doing a lot. I mean, just a little bit of a settle down. Let's get everybody around Rich and figure out where we're headed so we get everybody on the same page.
Guy that he's about to face hit him hard last Wednesday. Popped him out, and his first time today. 2 on with 1 out for Jerko.
I would say that's what Chase Utley said when he came in, since he was the first to talk in the meeting. Let's make sure we check on these runners.
They take off. Strike 1. A double steal for St. Louis.
Inside move, the non-pitch before, and now here really just guessing that there is no way he's going to do something to hold me. The second pitch with a man on second, and Carpenter just walked to their next base.
A good opportunity here for St. Louis, down 3-0 in the fourth. Jerko hits a fly ball to left that twists Bellinger around to the track to make the catch. But getting the Cardinals on the board is Jed Jerko with a sacrifice fly.
No hits for the Cardinals, but 1 run. Walk, hit batter, 2 stolen bases, and a sac fly. And an error, too.
On Adrian Gonzalez, just lost a ball in the bright backdrop on a pickoff throw. So a man at second with 2 gone for the guy that's had the best contact against Hill so far. Lined out to the track his first time. .34-year-old Yadier Molina swinging away at the first pitch, and a pop-up into left for Bellinger, shading his eyes from the sun and putting it away to end the inning. Cardinals still without a hit, but they get their first run with a walk, a hit batsman, an error, and a sac fly. Cemetery here in St. Louis goes back to the Civil War. Opened this place up, and this is actually where Jack Buck, Hall of Fame announcer of the Cardinals, was laid to rest. Memorial Day at Busch Stadium in a 3-1 game, with the Dodgers getting 2 in the third and 1 in the fourth. Yasiel Puig leads off the inning against Mike Leake, takes ball 1. Leake, who fired 8 innings against the Dodgers, beat them last week, just the 1 run, has allowed these 3 through 4 today. The Dodgers getting a home run from Utley and a home run from Bellinger. Here's a 1-1. A pop-up. And Mike Leake goes charging after it, with Molina not tracking it off of the bat, or maybe he did and just knew that it was going to get to the seats. Now the 1-2. It's in the dirt, 2-2. You just between innings notice it's 87 degrees, which is much warmer than they were calling for.
I saw a shot as that foul ball went in. I saw a lady kind of fanning herself to get some air and drink water. I'm like, what is the temperature?
Bouncing ball, stabbed at third by Jerko. Puig retired for the first out of the fifth. To take a look at our Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Some Memorial Day facts for you. It was originally known as Decoration Day after the Civil War and switched to Memorial Day in 1967. Flags flown half-mast until noon, and then whatever time zone you're in, noon central here was raised to full mast, and it'll stay that way until sunset. Chill, a little tapper back to Leake. 2 quick outs here in the fifth. About 40 million people or so will travel in the United States this weekend, more than 50 miles from home. It's a lot of people on the move.
And this being the great baseball city that it is, I would think that their attendance comes from the farthest places in the big leagues. Out around the farmland, everybody comes in for the weekend to watch the Cardinals. And at the old stadium, when they had AstroTurf, the reason they had it is so that people who traveled so far to come see baseball, they didn't want to cancel the games and have them rained out, so they had the AstroTurf. And you've experienced this natural grass drainage from your national broadcasts.
Yeah, Logan Forsythe takes ball 1. Here, it was 2 weeks ago now. Just last week. Giants were in town. Torrential downpour. Fly ball to right center field will end this inning. Torrential downpour, about an hour rain delay. 15 minutes later, we were playing again. This thing drained in a hurry. They make sure that these folks that are traveling long distances get to watch some Cardinal baseball. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Toyota time is going on now. Get incredible deals on a fuel-efficient RAV4 hybrid. Sellout crowd here in St. Louis. Sun's out, guns out. Dodgers 3, Cardinals 1. We are halfway home in the series opener. Rich Hill back to work against Aledmys Diaz. That's ball 1. Cardinals have 1 run, but no hits. Got a run last inning with a 1-out walk, and then an error, and then a hit batsman, a double steal, and a sacrifice fly. There's strike 1. Overall, though, through 4 innings, much different for Rich Hill than when he saw St. Louis on Wednesday at Dodger Stadium. 1-2.
He looks a lot better. Timing, rhythm, mechanics look like something he can repeat. I thought we were going to start looking at something like from last September 10th against Miami when he threw 7 perfect. Now they got a run. But he does have a 0 up there in the H column.
Remember those mechanical adjustments he made over the weekend were, they seem to be working for him. Has 4 punch outs, only 2 base runners. It's an offense that is struggling to gain any traction. Less than 3 runs per game on the previous road trip. The bottom half of the National League overall this year. That's tugged foul. We'll do it again. That's how you can have a pitching staff that is as good as this one and only be a game above 500. What a roller coaster it's been for St. Louis. A 3-9 start, then a major league best 18-6 run. Now they've lost 8 of 11. Diaz on the ground into center and a base hit to open the 5th. First hit of the day for the Cardinals.
Part of that luck factor when Corey Seager got the RBI for the Dodgers, it was one hit about this hard. Maybe this one's a little bit harder. With those 7, 8, 10 hoppers that find a hole, they just attack the right part of the defense.
So DeYoung comes up representing the tying run here in the 5th. Home run on his first career swing yesterday. They think he has 20, 25 home run potential. Some of the best power in the minors. Generated mostly from his hands. Not a huge guy. Lightning quick hands. Other than 2. Only 23 years old, originally from Florida, but then played his college ball not too far from here at Illinois State, which is where Brock Stewart played his college ball. They were teammates there. Ball 1. Two and 2 on Paul DeYoung. Activated with Colton Wong going on the disabled list with some elbow tightness. Shut him down for a day, then he came back, shut him down again, and then pain just wouldn't go away for Wong. They're having further tests done. Couldn't straighten out his arm a couple days back. Full count.
75 pitches in, and Rich Hill struggling a little bit with command here. Looks like he's not understanding where the adjustment is quite yet.
A pop up into shallow center. Long run for Utley and a bloop base hit. 2 soft singles for St. Louis. 2 on, nobody out in a 3-1 game in the 5th.
Time now for the Volkswagen replay on this little blooper. Just finds outfield grass in no man's land if you're a Dodger. Chase Utley finally tracks it down, but after it hits the ground, and first and second, and no out for the Cardinals.
Bottom of the order, though, so a chance for Hill to pitch through this. Jose Martinez, the batter. Struck him out his first time. Big bouncer over the mound. There's one. Utley to first, a double play. Boy, one pitch completely changes the picture here in the fifth.
4-3 DP lane. A lot of times the second baseman feeds the shortstop. Shortstop feeds the second baseman, but not on this one. Directly over the mound, straight to Chase Utley. Corey Seager gives way. Very routine double play.
And now you put yourself in a spot where if you can get the pitcher, you're out of the inning. Starts him with a curve that catches the inside edge.
Really a game changer right there, Joe. First and second, Rich Hill with his pitch count starting to elevate. Maybe Dodger bullpen has to get ready, but you get the double play.
Yeah, you're right. More than just an inning changer. Big spot in this game. Biggest spots in the game don't always come in the 8th and the 9th inning. Seven-year-old from Milton, Massachusetts, trying to strand a pair of singles that started the inning. Diaz off of third. Hill home with the 1-1, and Leake taking ball 2. Three and one. Strike two. Three runs on 5 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run on only 2 hits for the Cardinals. It has been a bounce back day for Rich Hill. Can he pitch around some trouble in the 5th? Just low on Leake. And they're at the corners for Dexter Fowler.
Why a 3-2 curveball to the pitcher? Well, Rich Hill has tremendous confidence and has had tremendous success at throwing his curveball sometimes for a strike better than his fastball.
So it'll be up to the big offseason acquisition. 5 years, $82.5 million for Dexter Fowler, but has been a massive disappointment so far. Here comes Hill. Ball 1. Cardinals hopeful that what they saw from Fowler over the weekend in Denver is a sign of things to come, but he took a 1-for-25 slide into Coors Field and then produced 6 hits in the 3 games. Tying run on here in the 5th. That's strike 1. Baez starting to warm for the Dodgers with Hill at 85 pitches. Wonder if that would be for Pham, who's on deck. Curve is popped up, and Hill's going to get out of this thing with no damage. Gonzalez in foul ground puts it away. And 5 innings for Rich Hill. Never allowed just 1 run on only 2 hits. become a thing for Adrian and Turner over the years. And on Tuesday, June 6th, the first 40,000 fans get a Justin Turner bobblehead, and then the set gets completed on September 6th with a complement to that, the Adrian Gonzalez selfie bobblehead. All presented by State Farm. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions to learn more. 2, 3, and 4 against Mike Leake. Corey Seager looks at ball 1. So Rich Hill threw 5 innings, giving up just 1 run. 2-0 on Seager. Will you be surprised to see him come out for the 6th?
Pedro's still standing in the bullpen, and Rich Hill, it's not going to be about an at bat as they are down. I think Pedro's going to probably be coming in. Josh Bard going over the lineup with him, standing on the rubber.
Seager to short. That's Diaz.
And I think if you're Dave Roberts and Rick Honeycutt, you want to get Rich Hill up the tunnel with a really good mood and good feeling about where you're at and something to build on. They'll leave this game up 3-1. You got your 5 innings, you got your close to 80 pitches, and you say, all right, now the season starts. I'm starting to roll.
Grandal grounds it foul. It was a big start for him today following last week. He used the words like embarrassing, terrible, unacceptable to describe that loss against St. Louis. Right back in the saddle, though. And especially when you consider it's against the same lineup that you struggled against.
Yeah, it's going to be great for him to play catch and then have another side where continue to build on the adjustments they're making, because now he knows it functions in the game, and then he can start to take some of the edges off it and go, you know, this is what I felt, and this felt good, and I want to do a little bit more of this, and he's going to see it all start to come together, and I think we'll start to see the Rich Hill of old.
Leak home of the 1-2, and he spins it inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Yasmani.
With Alex Wood going down on the DL, it's important for Rich Hill to have had a good outing here to keep that rotation as good as they've been.
Yeah, I was going to say get in line as far as being good and a pitcher for the Dodgers. Best staff in baseball so far.
And Ryu gets slipped in. He just came off a 4-inning save out of the bullpen. Looks like he's found his way on the mound.
Job to stay alive. Still 2-2.
It's fun to be a Dodger right now. Lots of guys swinging the bat well. Guys coming out in the rotation pitching well. The bullpen is in complete shutdown mode on a 17 2/3 inning scoreless streak right now. Confidence is high. Just waiting for Arizona and Colorado to just kind of cooperate and lose a few games.
Yeah. Rockies scoreless with the Mariners in the 2nd inning in Denver. There's a 2-2 again. Grandal down swinging. Arizona plays at Pittsburgh. They start in about 20 minutes. League's 4th punch out. 2 gone in the 6th, and up comes Adrian Gonzalez. Five extra base hits for Adrian over the last 7 games. He had 5 in his first 31. Strike 1.
Tells you about strength and bat speed and bat accuracy too. Get those singles with little dribblers through the infield, or he was doing a lot of hitting the ball to left field and trying to hit hard ground balls to beat the shift. Now he's starting to drive the ball.
First home run of the season Friday night against Jake Arrieta. And it was a no doubt shot. Straightaway center, Dodger Stadium. Leake works a 1-2-3-6. Has kept his Cardinals in the game. On to the bottom half. 3-1.
Your Morongo Casino slow-mo cam and some beauty shots of Rich Hill with the new mechanics, some adjustments of that rhythm and timing, and great work from he and pitching coach Rick Honeycutt to keep this Dodger staff on top. Rich Hill joins the parade of outstanding Dodger pitchers.
His day is finished. Pedro Baez, his day begins. Who's in, who's out, brought to you by In and Out. Pedro trying to keep this bullpen's run going. They've not allowed a run since Wednesday against St. Louis.
He is throwing hard. He is really confident, and he is mixing his pitches very, very well. Pedro Baez has really reached a point where we watched Kenley Jansen reach, as someone who has developed from a position change guy to a reliever to a dominant closer, and now this guy could probably be a dominant closer the way he is pitching.
It's turned into one of Dave Roberts' high leverage guys, and you may look at this and say, well, it's the 6th inning. How is this high leverage? Now it's a 2-run game with 2, 3, and 4 in the Cardinals order coming up. Tommy Pham leads it off, and Baez drops one in for strike one. More and more often we're seeing him pitch backwards.
He will start people off now with the breaking ball or the changeup. Does not default automatically to the number 1.
Quickly 0-2, and look out over there. That new extended netting protects some folks in the first row.
Especially look out Rick Honeycutt. He's had a lot of bats thrown at him lately.
Yeah. Glad he's fine from that one yesterday. That was scary. I mean, a very sharp barrel of the bat went flinging at him. He just was able to get out of the way. Pretty protected by the net on that one. There's Rick.
Oh, he's got net in front of him today.
Smart.
Yep. Yeah, Bob Guerin and Dave Roberts are out exposed, but Rick Honeycutt has got the protection.
Ball one. Tommy Pham caught up in early May. It's been an injury-riddled career for him. Seems like anytime he starts to get going, he has another little thing crop up. Finally made an opening day roster last year and then hurt his oblique in his first at-bat of the year. Had a wrist injury in the minors, had a thumb injury, tore one shoulder while he was in Double-A, tore the other shoulder up first time he got to Triple-A. On 2-2, a fastball hit down the right field line for Puig. Casually makes a knee-high basket catch. As long as you're sure about it, Yasiel, I'll take your word for it. Let's check in with Alana Rizzo.
Guys, Josh Bard, the bullpen coach, is an incredibly humble coach, and he will not take any credit for what the bullpen has done. He doesn't really want to talk about it. Much like Josh Fields doesn't want to talk about his numbers, we'll talk about how good the bullpen is doing. As you guys mentioned, no runs in the last 4 games, just 3 hits, 12 strikeouts, and 3 base on balls, 17 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings pitched, the lowest National League ERA. Basically, all Josh would tell me is they're staying within themselves. There are no roles except that 9th inning. We just go out there and execute.
Kind of a new age bullpen, and that the roles are based on leverage, not innings, times of the game to strike out Matt Carpenter. Seeing more and more teams go to that. Saw it in the postseason last year. It was more than just the postseason last year, but that was the biggest stage that it was displayed. Mostly Terry Francona for the Indians and Dave Roberts with the Dodgers. Carpenter takes a change, and it's 1-1.
Your bullpen coach is pretty much in charge of preparation of the bullpen, the focus of the bullpen, and then the chemistry. It's a long year down there, and knowing when it's time to kind of loosen up a little bit and get to know each other, have some real camaraderie, and then when to really focus in. Looks like right now he's working on chemistry.
Here's a 1-1. That's up 2-1.
Kenley doesn't need his game face on too early, and your closer gets super intense. You know, you want him locked in watching the game, but you can't get so intense that you spend all the energy before it's your time to pitch.
Glad they got some shade down there on a day where the temperatures climbed into the high 80s. Baez to Carpenter. 3-1. Overshift on against the left-handed batter. Baez delivers, and Carpenter takes strike 2. Well placed and 98. That is an elite combination.
It sure is. It puts a lot of hitters out of business if he can do that.
Because 98 isn't that rare anymore, but 98 and painted like that.
Yeah. I'm just blown away by 98. I've never even come within like 4 miles an hour of that number.
You had a 9 in it.
Yeah, I had some 9s. That was it.
Carpenter turns on a floater down the right field line. It'll sink in front of Puig for a 1-out base hit. Only the 3rd St. Louis here to the game, and a 1-out base runner for Jen Jerko.
Not afraid to hit in 2 strikes, not afraid to see a lot of pitchers. He doesn't really hit this ball hard, but he hits it in the right place. Does a good job catching up to a Pedro Baez fastball.
So Baez will have to be careful here against the powerful Jerko, who's among the leaders in the National League at how often he homers since he joined the Cardinals last year. Strike 1, fastball by him. Jerko, 28, West Virginia native out of Morgantown. Born and raised there, went to college there, played for the Mountaineers. Still lives there in the off seasons. That one's up, and it's 1-1. Became the cleanup man at the end of April. They tried Stephen Piscotty there to start the year, but he struggled. Jerko in a month in that spot has been good. One and two.
Outstanding slider right there. 98 down to 88, but that break was awesome. We're used to Pedro kind of spiking that ball last year, or kind of it being flat, but that one he's getting out in front and really leveraging it. Not only taking the speed off, but some tremendous break.
See what he goes to. 1-2. Back to the fastball in our direction. Oh, Orel almost had to go buy a new computer.
I was watching the monitor and I looked out of the corner of my eye, it's coming here. It's like, let's go.
It was like right just past you
over
guys,
there,
right down there.
Yeah,
you guys were in trouble. That ball was coming right for you at home.
We got Charlie and Mo next to us, and they were laughing that we were jumping like that.
Runner at first, 1 out. They want it up again. Taken for a ball. 2-2.
It's actually nice to sit up here and think with Pedro Baez now, because he has secondary stuff. He can go slider away, which was devastating. He can go double up with that fastball up. He can throw one low and away even if he wants.
Slider gets him to pop up into right center field. It's Taylor and Puig, and Yasiel calls Taylor off to catch it.
Yasiel not ready to give in to the fact that the center fielder's the captain when he's only been out there for about 5 games. It's like, look, you don't have enough experience yet to be captain. I got this. You're normally a shortstop or a second baseman.
And Taylor says, yes, Mr. 240-pound linebacker. Two outs for Molina. running out of chances here to extend his 16-game hitting streak. Strike one.
Yeah, the last center fielder that Puig caught a ball with ended up on the DL.
Yeah, so smart move, Chris. Hope Jock's healing up.
Sure. They didn't want him to make the flight, I don't think, with all the different little issues he's dealing with.
Yeah, still a little bit hazy. You don't want the overstimulation. 1-1. Not just a 16-game hitting streak for Molina, but he's been on base every game that he's played in this month. Carpenter at first with 2 gone. Baez to Molina, 1-1. Driven in the air down the right field line. Puig running over to the corner, still going to make the catch. Similar spot that he took one away yesterday at Dodger Stadium. And on 3 flyouts to right, a scoreless inning for Pedro Baez. It's brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Back here in St. Louis, where the Dodgers lead the Cardinals 3-1 on to the 7th inning. Stan the Man statue outside here. 29-year-old Mike Leake, San Diego native. He's allowed the 3 runs on 5 hits, but has retired 8 in a row since he gave up the home run to Bellinger back in the 4th. Chris Taylor leads off the 7th and takes ball 1. Chris is 0 for 2. Fly out and a strikeout. 2-0. Just got extra bright in here. Some shady cover above for much of the afternoon. Partly cloudy, but bright sunshine at this moment. Backed up and missed, and it's 3-0. Sure would be nice to get some insurance here going into the late innings. Dodgers trying to get their 10th win out of their last 12. Trying to finish off a 22-8 run. 4-pitch walk, Chris Taylor to open the 7th. First free pass issued by Leake. Here comes Bellinger. We look back at our Arco top tier play of the game, brought to you by Arco. His 11th home run in his 32nd career game.
First at bat here in St. Louis, and he makes it count, and it is a wonderful memory to be in Dodger blue.
Best calendar month for any rookie in Dodger history. 9 home runs. Takes a strike here. And in hitting his 11th home run in his 32nd game, that's the 10th fastest in Major League history to do it. The fastest actually happened last year. Gary Sanchez, the Yankees catcher, had 11 home runs in 23 games. Third on that list also last year, Trevor Story. 11 home runs in 27 games.
Wasn't he the fastest to 10, Story?
There were a bunch of different marks. I don't remember if 10 was one, but you know, fastest to 5 and fastest to 7.
I remember seeing his name at the top on a few of those.
Yeah, it was especially the first week. I think he got Greinke twice on opening day. Coming inside with a 1-1, and Bellinger popping it up. Back of third for Jerko. Cody's 1 for 3, and up comes Chase Utley. Kevin Segras getting loose in the Cardinals bullpen. Penn has been inconsistent for them. Really, you break it down like this: the starting staff has been the best in baseball, but the offense below average, the bullpen inconsistent, the defense inconsistent, and you blend that all together and you get 24 and 23.
Good news out of Colorado. Rockies down 3-0.
It's weird to hear.
It is.
Like they're never trailing. Outside ball 1. And the Diamondbacks getting going in Pittsburgh any minute now. Utley homered against Leake in the 3rd, and in his career now he is 5 for 32 against Leake, but 3 of those 5 hits are homers. Good lead for Taylor on this 1-0. Ball 2. The 2-0. Ball 3. He walked Taylor on 4 pitches, and now he's fallen behind Utley 3-0. Chase has been seeing it so well. Came off of the bench yesterday, had 2 appearances, walked in both of them. He's put him into some good counts. He's taken advantage with 3 homers in the last week. A 3-0 green light and a foul ball for strike 1. Weren't many 3-0 green lights a month ago for Chase.
Even if Dave Roberts would have given it to him, Chase is such a team player, he would have taken it, even though a cookie might be coming, that he could get out of the slump. He knows what's best for the team, and Dave was hoping what was best for Chase to get him going, and they both got their wish.
Sometimes injuries provide silver linings. Forsythe injury, the Utley or the Turner injury. That's ripped into right, a base hit for Utley. Taylor making the turn, testing the arm of Martinez, who throws off the line, and Utley takes advantage, taking second. You mentioned it earlier, Carlos Martinez, or Jose Martinez, showing off his arm, throwing to third, but sailing the cutoff man, and this time it did it.
He gets this one a little offline. I mean, it's not like Yasiel's arm. Yasiel's is stronger and more accurate. Chris Taylor testing right there. Because of that jump, it made it a 50-50 call, but Chris Taylor didn't even have to slide when he saw the ball was offline.
mound visit here. Just to put a bow on that conversation about silver linings from injuries. You know, you have Forsythe go down, then Turner go down. Horrible losing those guys, but what it did was give Chase Utley a more consistent role, which is what he's had his entire career. And it's allowed him to get things going.
It sure is. It's a tough transition to move from an everyday player to a guy that is going to be used in different roles and have spotty playing time, and especially hard to do that at Chase's age with his work ethic and preparation. He continued to prepare on a daily basis, but just didn't get the opportunities. But you're so right. Those consistent at bats gave him an opportunity to see the ball and get his swing down and continue to contribute to the Dodgers even when he wasn't getting hits.
Second and third, one out, and it's Puig as the Dodgers try to add on. The infield pulled in. Here comes Leake. Took strike one. Dodgers 3 runs on 6 hits and a walk against Leake 1 week after he got just 1 run over 8 innings. Puig fouls it back, 0-2. Set it himself with 1 to hit. And now in a hole against the guy leading the National League in earned run average. Going outside with an 0-2, and Puig digs it out. Shallow left, probably not deep enough. Pham settles under it, makes the catch. Taylor going to test him, and he's in there easily. I think he saw Pham kind of drifting away, not doing a great job of circling around that ball. Because of it, Taylor scores to make it 4-1.
Yeah, poor form in left field. Yasiel Puig gets a sac fly. Chris Taylor scores the run. And being very aggressive, but really more intelligent. Watch those last couple steps. He has to go backwards. 3 little baby steps, gets the momentum going one way, and the throw has to go the other. Chris Taylor reads that, and with his speed, makes it pretty easily.
So the Dodgers with their first run since the early innings, and Kike Hernandez sits in the pitcher's spot. Run yesterday on a 3-0 pitch against John Lester. And those remarkable numbers of extra base hits continue. 19 of his 25 hits this year have gone for extra bases. Singles are for the Birds. 0-2.
Got it right off his front foot. Probably wishes that he could swing the bat with that front foot in the air like he normally does as the ball's tracking, but when that front foot hits is when you start to launch the bat.
Goes up the ladder for that one, and it hooks foul. Lee Como 2. Just off of the inside edge. Molina trying to pull it back for a strike, but home plate umpire Mike Winters not biting. 1-2.
A lot of moans in the crowd coming from around home plate.
Outside this time. It leaks back. It's fouled back. So this is the first time in 10 starts for Mike Leake that he won't pull off a quality start. It's 9 for 9 coming in. The Dodgers, in getting 4 runs, exceed the limit of 3 to qualify for that stat. 2-2 on Kike. Leake's been a good pitcher throughout his career. 8 seasons in the majors. Although he admits that this year there have been some epiphany moments, he said, where he's thought to himself, hey, I am good enough to be dominant. Gets Kike to chase and finish off 7 innings. But the Dodgers add one, and a sacrifice fly from Puig. It's stretch time in a 4-1 game. To by Morongo Casino. Chase Utley, his 3rd home run over the last week. Started the scoring in the 3rd inning. Cody Bellinger, his 11th on this young season. Rich Hill, meanwhile, goes 5 innings in a bounce-back outing after the Cardinals really took advantage of an erratic kill last week. Allows only 1 earned run. Baez pitched the 6th, and now Sergio Romo trying to build off of the momentum of getting a couple of outs yesterday.
Felt a lot better about all 3 of his pitches yesterday. The slider, of course, the foundational pitch, but used his fastball to get a strikeout looking in the 2/3 of an inning, and actually threw a changeup or 2. And thought all 3 were of the quality he was looking for. Now he's just looking to repeat.
Diaz, DeYoung, and Martinez in this inning, and strike 1 as he starts with a fastball, which for him is pitching backwards.
It is, you're right.
Now the slider and ball 1.
That slider's not the one he wants to throw. His sliders for balls need to be the ones that look like strikes. That was just not competitive out of his hand.
A 1-1. That one's low, 2-1. So he's gone fastball, slider, change, using all 3 of his pitches and as many opportunities.
The whole kitchen sink right away. Good thing is he's keeping the ball down.
Hooked off the end of the bat. Seager goes back on it, and Diaz the first out of the 7th.
Make plans to attend an annual Old Timers game presented by Security Benefit on June 10th when the Dodgers face the Cincinnati Reds. Be here early to see your favorite former Dodger. Don't come here to St. Louis. Go to Dodger Stadium. For tickets and information, visit Dodgers.com/oldtimers.
I'm Ron Burgundy. I'm with you, though. I tend to read whatever they put up on that promo monitor as well. Paul DeYoung, strike 1 on a slider. then you catch yourself like as you're reading it.
No,
that's not right.
Yeah, I'm going backwards.
Yes, at Dodger Stadium next Saturday, old timers game. Romo lets it go, and DeYoung pulls one down the line, base hit. Overleaping Forsythe. It's a one-out double. His first hit, or his second hit. Cardinals are the man in scoring position.
Looks like you want to do a little front door slider. Yasmani's sitting inside. Just kind of ended up down the middle. Hits it all the way inside. Probably gets pulled foul or topped off his shoe, but over the middle of the plate, enough room to keep it down the line.
So DeYoung at second base and one out for Jose Martinez. Cardinals have dropped 8 of 11 after an 18-6 run where they took over first place in the Central. Now tied with the Cubs in second, looking up at the Brewers. A strike on Martinez. Chris Hatcher getting loose. Cardinals trying to be the first to score against the Dodger bullpen since Wednesday when they pulled the feed. Crackbat roller to the hole at short that eats up Seager. Gets into short left. They give the wave to DeYoung. Bellinger's throw home in time to get him. A Bellinger bullet cuts down DeYoung at the plate. Don't you dare.
Here's the ground ball to Corey Seager, but this is just the beginning of the play after this deflection off the glove. Cody Bellinger, who plays first base, great arm there, center fielder, and then filling in left field with Andrew Tolles going down with his surgery. He just throws a laser. Yasmani Grandal not real friendly with this tag. Right to the face for an out. Excellent baseball play from Cody Bellinger. You could think about, oh, keep the double play in order, make sure this ball goes to second. But no, I've got enough arm and accuracy to throw him out at home and really change the inning. It's like he's shaking his left arm out there a little bit. Cody is of gunning that ball, maybe not having to throw a ball that hard all day. Yeah, you see him just kind of like, oh, that one kind of stretched some things out.
Yeah, glad to see it's accompanied by a smile, though. Holy cow. Don't blink when it comes to this guy. You're going to miss something exciting.
I mean, that is really letting it go. He's fouled through onto his front leg, almost fell on his face, and threw that ball like a pitcher.
Feels like it could be a good baseball nickname. Blink. Blink Bellinger.
Yeah.
If you do, you'll miss it.
Yeah, exactly.
Greg Garcia pinch hitting. Chose bunt. Takes a strike. It's funny that he shows bunt because yesterday he hit the second longest home run for the Cardinals in the StatCast era. That's 3 seasons. And today he starts by showing bunt. Romo misses in. No swing, 1 ball and 1 strike. Because of the assist from Bellinger, Garcia could hit it a mile and the Dodgers would still have the lead. Tying run just in the on-deck circle against Romo here in the 7th. The runner at second, Grandal using the signals as opposed to the fingers. Bounce foul, 1-2. Good take on a back foot slider. 2 balls, 2 strikes. One of 2 products of the University of Hawaii on this Cardinals roster. Along the other, he and Garcia were teammates there. Romo's ready and it's 2-2. Got him swinging. So Romo with his scoreless 7th inning with some help from Cody Bellinger. He's hit his 11th home run today and he's saved a run defensively.
On the disabled list today, there's a bit of uncertainty about the probables for the remainder of this series. Time now for the Unlimited Baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Tuesday, we know for certain it's Kenta Maeda versus Michael Wacha. Wednesday will likely be, guys, Hyunjin Ryu, who is slated to be able to pitch that day, barring any pen usage for him today or tomorrow. That's against Carlos Martinez. And Thursday, it's Brandon McCarthy, who, after his last outing, had some right knee tendonitis. The MRI showed that it's pretty clean. However, he is set to go against Adam Wainwright.
All right, Alana, who has been really good suddenly to join the rest of this starting rotation and being good. He was kind of the one weak link over the first month or so, but Wainwright very good his last 3 times out. Cardinals bullpen goes to work. Kevin Segras pumps a strike to Logan Forsythe. Well, the number is not particularly good, but he's had 3 bad outings. And his other 17, he's given up nothing. Forsythe turns on one. A high fly ball to left field. Pham is back, and Forsythe has hit his first Dodger homer. A solo shot to left, and the lead is 5-1.
Production is coming from all over the Dodger lineup. Chris Taylor, Cody Bellinger, Chase Utley, and now Logan Forsythe joins the home run parade.
That's 7 home runs over the last 2 days for this offense. Seager looks at a ball. An offense that is number 2 in baseball in this month of May in runs per game. You may have checked, so you may know the answer. Breaking ball in, strike 1. But do you know who is number 1 in runs per game in the majors in this month? It's now about finished.
I got 2 guesses.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense?
No.
Really? Oh, wow. Then I'm probably completely wrong, because I was going to go like Colorado or the Nats.
The Nats, you said?
Yeah, Nationals.
It's the Mets.
The Mets. Wow.
So that shows you how big of a disappointment the Mets pitching has been.
Wow.
That they have the number 1 offense in the month of May, yet are 21-27. 2-2 on Corey.
Every time we look up, the Rockies seem to be scoring 6 or 8. They're down now 3-2 in the bottom of the 4th.
It's a long way to go in that one, but if both scores were to hold up, the Dodgers would move to within a half game.
And if you talk to the club and Dave Roberts, they're just about, we're just doing our thing, and they're really starting to hit our stride, so we don't really worry about what other teams are doing. I believe them. When you're playing this well, you'd like to all of a sudden get the first and pad that lead, but you really are just enjoying this run and not wanting to be distracted.
Last time Dodgers were in first was at the finish of the first series of the year when they took 3 of 4 from San Diego. Here's Grandal. Ball 1. Diamondbacks already with a run in Pittsburgh, 1-0 after 1. Yasmani Tomas singling home David Peralta. Diamondbacks have lost back-to-back games after winning 10 of 11. Dodgers up on them by a half game entering this week. Seagrass to Grandal with a 1-0, and that's up for ball 2. Well, we mentioned Seagrass. You get rid of the 3 bad outings, and he's been perfect keeping teams off of the board. Gives up a leadoff homer to Forsythe, walks Seager, and now falls behind Grandal 2-0. The feeling that he might have one of those crooked numbers if his track record holds true. Grandal pulls a base hit to left. His first hit of the day, and they're at first and second, still nobody out.
Now hit safely in 9 out of his last 10 games, Yasmani Grandal. Batting average for the month of May is 3rd in the National League. He is definitely swinging a hot bat, and extra special to do it from the right side against the left-handed pitcher.
It's that swing that he spent so much of his offseason working on. Two on, nobody out. Adrian Gonzalez 1 for 3. Single the other way his first time. Couple of strikeouts since then. You know, Grandal working on that right-handed swing this offseason. Dave Roberts called him days after the National League Championship Series loss. And said flat out, look, for us to be great, you can't be sitting when we play left-handed starters, because that had become the case. Carlos Ruiz especially down the stretch last year. So Yasmani went to work a couple times a week during the offseason with a guy named Jeff Pentland, who had time as a Dodger hitting coach. They watched video of some of the greats, Ted Williams, Hank Aaron, some Chipper Jones video, even Nolan Arenado he took a look at. It's quite a compliment to Arenado that he's in that category of guys you're watching to try and learn about the right-handed swing. Seager at second, Grandal at first, and Seagrass to Gonzalez with the 2-1. Outside for ball 3. On the ground is second. DeYoung will go to second for 1, and Diaz will turn a double play. Now a chance for Seagrass to have minimal damage here in the 8th inning as he gets the 4-6-3 twin killing. Although it appears that will do it for Seagrass. With the right-handed batting Chris Taylor coming up, Mike Matheny to go to his pen to bring a right-hander, the old Dodger, Jonathan Broxton, in with the Dodgers in front 5-1. Brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. Logan Forsythe, his first home run in a Dodger uniform to lead off this 8th inning. And the big fella, Jonathan Broxton, on to face Chris Taylor with a man at 3rd and 2 gone. Delivers ball 1. Dodgers saw him twice last week, gave up a run in his first outing. Actually, the losing pitcher in that first outing on the base hit from Logan Forsythe in the 13th inning. It's a strike. It's 1-1, and then pitched a scoreless inning in the series finale.
A couple of punch outs in the finale maybe got him back on the horse. Big fella. The senior member of this Cardinal bullpen with 692 big league games.
1-2. Many of those with the Dodgers. Most of those with the Dodgers. Debuted with them back in 2005 when he was only 21. Primary closer for this team for a few years. Was an all-star twice, 2009 and 10. This is 1-2. Low and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Toss down there to third for Molina.
Just seeing if anybody's asleep.
I'll admit it, he caught me there. Blame the Dodgers for making it sleepy in here. It's usually not a sleepy environment.
Ball just barely gets away from Yadier as he just kind of checking it out. Corey facing him completely. He understands that it takes a step or two just to turn around. You don't gain much ground on third base, so Yadier just threw it right at his chest.
Now the payoff from Broxton, and Taylor strikes out swinging. But the Dodgers add one on a Forsythe homer to the bottom of the 8th, up 5-1.
Your Southern California Nissan dealers bring you Access Sportsnet Dodgers immediately following this ball game. We'll certainly talk about Rich Hill's outing, how he was able to atone for the last time out against the St. Louis Cardinals. Contribution offensively all the way up and down the lineup. And if this stands, the roll keeps going for this Dodgers club, guys.
It would be 10 of 12 if Chris Hatcher and the rest of the bullpen can finish things off. Chris on for the 18th time, ready to face the top of the Cardinals order.
Chris is starting to quietly have a good year. He's had some slow and tough outings, but inherited 5 runners, none have scored. Been hurt by the long ball personally. That's why the ERA is 3.46. But he's come in and eat an awful lot of innings for this Dodger bullpen. Actually, in the top 10 in the National League as far as usage, as far as innings pitched. So he's a workhorse this year and putting up some pretty good numbers.
Drops in strike one on Dexter Fowler. Pham and Carpenter to follow. Fowler's 0 for 3 today, and the Cardinals again searching for offense. They average less than 3 runs per game on the 6-game trip. They dropped 2 of 3 in LA. They dropped 2 of 3 in Denver. Dodgers try to keep their downward spiral continuing. That's your home 0-2. Fowler takes it high. There was even some discussion of moving Dexter Fowler out of the leadoff spot. My goodness. 5 years, $80+ million specifically to be your leadoff guy. And less than 2 months into his first year, talking about moving him out. 2-2. 10th major league season now. First with the Rockies, then the Astros. Last 2 years with the Cubs. Weren't winning a world championship, of course, last year. Barely getting a piece here. Led off Game 7 with a home run. It was the first time that anybody had started a Game 7 in World Series history with a blast. Cardinals signed him for his high on base percentage. It was .393 last year. It's around .300 this year. Sharply hit, but right at Utley on 2 bounces for the first out of the 8th. Fowler's 0 for 4, and it brings up Tommy Pham in a 5-1 game.
Nice response by the Dodgers so far to a late arrival here in St. Louis. A lot of times you can have a flat tire coming in, especially with a little hangover on a 4-game win streak, but came in here with some focus, and Rich Hill set the tone early.
That's a ball on Pham. And you thought you had a little bit of concern coming in just because of the style of pitcher they were facing after that late arrival and short rest?
Yeah, with Rick Leake keeping the ball down, sometimes your legs get a little heavy, your concentration, so you come out of your swing. And when the ball's sinking like Leake throws, if you're coming out of your swing a little bit, you're going to hit the top. They've done a nice job staying strong, keeping their approach, and really engaging in this game. You see a lot of focus from all the different guys putting quality at bats on the St. Louis pitchers.
5 runs on 8 hits for the Dodgers. 8 hits, 2 walks. Looking for their 5th consecutive victory. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
We went from the oldest guy on the roster hitting a home run to the youngest guy on the roster, Cody Bellinger, hitting a home run.
And then settled in the middle with Logan Forsythe. Bellinger also an outfield assist to keep this run for the bullpen alive. Chopper to the hole. Seager won't get there. That's a base hit for Pham. Is it now 19 2/3 in a row for the bullpen scoreless back to last Wednesday?
Yep. The last run they gave up was a Romo home run. Almost 20 innings ago, yeah. 17 2/3 coming into today.
Matt Carpenter has reached twice. He was hit and singled. Old time look with those bare hands. Swings at the first pitch, which rarely happens with him, and it's a fly ball to left center field that Cody Bellinger catches. He's going to go back and say, see, that's why I don't swing at the first pitch. 2 out.
Trying to ambush Chris Hatcher, who a lot of times starts a count off with a fastball. You know, it's Monty and Chris having a little chat about first pitch selection here. Guy who's got tremendous power and hits home runs often. Don't want to let the Cardinals climb back into this game here with 2 outs in the 8th.
Grandal wants a high fastball. That's what Hatcher gives him. Ball 1. Did you read the quote from Chris Bryant a couple days ago after the first game of the series talking about the bullpen and their location? And he said, I've never seen anything like it. Every single pitch that their bullpen threw was a fastball at the very top of the zone. 2-0. It's working.
The ball in the upper part of the strike zone looks bigger to the hitter, that's for sure, because you are looking at the whole ball as it comes at you. As the lower the ball gets, the less the ball you see. You see more of the top of it from sinker ballers down by your knees.
That one was a little bit lower. Takes off on Taylor. Still back on the track to make the catch. Not entirely comfortable yet, but it doesn't matter. Now it is an out. On to the 9th with the Dodgers in front 5-1.
The Dodgers take on the Reds. The first 12,000 kids 14 and under in attendance will receive a Kids Yasmani Grandal jersey t-shirt. Compliments of Chef Morito. For tickets, go to dodgers.com/promotions.
This is Brett Cecil. 2 big offseason signings for the Cardinals. One, Dexter Fowler. We've detailed his struggles. The other, Brett Cecil, and this graphic details his.
The Cardinals are still near the top. If they find their way, they give the Cubs some competition. I know there's a lot of hope in St. Louis that these signings will turn out to be good ones, but right now these guys are trying to find their way as they look down at their jersey and see a different name.
Cody Bellinger leading off this 9th for the Dodgers, waiting on a 1-0. That's a strike. So that's definitely a thing, a real thing, trying to impress when you put on that new uniform.
I think there's a lot of things. Combination of new environment. How does this culture function? You know, how much anger can I show around my teammates when I come back to the bench after doing something wrong or feeling bad? You know, what's it like? Who are my new friends? What are the clubhouse guys like? It's just the whole environmental thing. And the manager has a lot to do with setting that tone. Dave Roberts does a great job. I know Mike Matheny works very hard at that, making guys feel comfortable so that they can go about their business and feel real good about their day. Not the results as much as just the preparation and the feel of the day.
Bellinger down swinging for the first out of the 9th. And this is the freshly called up Brandon Morrow, who is the corresponding move for Alex Wood being placed on the DL. Morrow has an opt-out in his contract where if he wasn't in the majors by June 1st, could opt out. So they're going to give him an opportunity to show what he's got here.
Different guys will negotiate that in as they are being courted by different organizations in the offseason. Some will try and even get that out somewhere at the end of spring training. Some can't get that, don't have the leverage, but others can get maybe an out later in the season. And some don't get it at all. It's just part of the negotiation that's allowed.
Here's a 1-0 to Utley. And outside, ball 2. Dodgers today 2 in the 3rd. Utley started it with a solo homer. They got single runs in the 4th, the 7th, and the 8th. 2-1. Fly ball on the left field line. Pham into the corner and has room to make the catch. A little bit out of our view there, but crowd's reaction tells you that Utley's the second out of the 9th.
Foul territory creeps up real quick, but even quicker is the wall. There's only about probably 3-4 feet between the foul line and the padded wall. A little bit like arena baseball here in St. Louis down the lines.
Puig now, bases empty, 2 gone. Pulls a bouncer inside the bag. That's a fair ball into the corner. And Yasiel Puig has his second hit of the day. Good day for him. Single, double, sacrifice fly. The Dodgers with an opportunity to add one here.
Continues to work hard on his swing and trying to get away from the rollover ground balls to third, but this is a bullet down there. A lot closer to a line drive than a chopper. And he will be satisfied with that. So will his hitting coach Turner Ward.
Franklin Gutierrez will bat now. After yesterday's game with a stomach bug. Feeling well enough to give Dave Roberts a bat off of the bench here in the 9 spot. Against the lefty Cecil, who delivers one. The Gutierrez turns around in the air to right, sending Martinez back onto the track to make the catch. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th. Dodgers 3 outs away from winning their 5th in a row. today, but our Lexus player of the game is the rookie, Cody Bellinger. His 11th home run and this glorious outfield assist. At a critical point of this game, if this run scores, the Cardinals would have had the tying run at the plate.
He continues to show that he is an all-around baseball player. He's hit for power. He's hit in the clutch. He's gotten the runner in from third with less than 2 outs, and he's played left field and first base at a very high level.
I think he could be an all-star.
Well, I think he'll be an all-star sometime in his future, for sure.
This year, is there enough there?
Yes.
There's obviously a name already because of how loud the debut's been, but
well, let's just think utopia that the Dodgers climb into first place going into the All-Star break, and there are so many candidates if that happens.
Right.
I mean, it could be Alex Wood, it could be Clayton Kershaw for sure, Kenley Jansen, could be Pedro Baez, could be a lot of guys, Cody Bellinger, Chris Taylor might have a shot at it. You never. There's going to be so many guys that they divide up those spots that the Dodgers would get, but there could be a lot of them.
Here's Brandon Morrow making his Dodger debut here. Now his numbers in AAA, I'm sure there are some of you that have looked and seen those and said, why in the world is he up? Strike one on Molina. Besides the fact that there's the opt-out clause in a couple days, those numbers are a bit skewed. He gave up 6 runs in 1 outing. The rest of the year his ERA is .260. Molina tomahawks one on the ground is second, and Utley throws him out.
And that's statistics for a guy in the bullpen. That's wins and losses sometimes for a starter because they don't get run support, but their ERA is pretty solid. So you've got to look a little deeper sometimes than just what's on the surface.
And there is a resume there for Morrow, plenty of one. Aledmys Diaz. Breaking ball, strike one. Morrow has taken 2 picks ahead of Clayton Kershaw. 5th overall in 2006, but then was slowed by injuries the last several years. Diaz tries to lay off and does, and it evens up. Oblique in 2012. Forearm in 2013. Tore a tendon in his hand and his finger in 2014, and then the last 2 years, the most significant one, it was a shoulder. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Diaz. Got off to a really good start in 2015 with the Padres, but as a starter, the shoulder issue cropped up, eventually had surgery, didn't come back until last August after a year-long rehab, and was great. And a couple of months out of the bullpen for San Diego. At third, it's caught by Forsythe, and he's got the first 2 outs on only 6 pitches.
Logan Forsythe all over the field today because of all the different shifting. Corey Seager's been over there at third sometimes when they shift, and he goes over to second, but right in the right spot there.
So the Dodgers an out away from a 5th consecutive win. A 5-1 lead in the 9th, and Morrow to DeYoung. Inside ball 1. Game 2 tomorrow night. 4:05 Los Angeles time. Maeda against Wacha. Dodgers beat Michael Wacha on Thursday. This will drop the Cardinals to 500.
Coming into today, the Dodgers were 11 games over 500. That's a season high. This will make it 12, of course, continuing that narrative.
2-1. To go relax, enjoy this Memorial Day evening. They'll take peeks at that Rockies score, though not too close. It's only May. Right now, Mariners 6, Rockies 3 after 5 innings in Denver. Both scores were to hold. Dodgers would enter the game tomorrow only a half game back, trying to get into first for the first time since the opening series of the year. Come on, Kyle Seager this week. Oro trying to work a 1-2-3 inning in his Dodger debut. His 2-2 in the dirt to run it full. Same story today for the Dodgers. More great pitching. Bullpen scoreless inning streak continuing, 20-something now. Rich Hill bounced back, 1 run over 5 innings, and the offense again providing 3 homers. They've won 5 in a row and 10 of the last 12. How about a 22-8 stretch for the Los Angeles Dodgers?
The hottest team in baseball, but they just happen to play in the National League West, where the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are playing just as well, maybe a tick better. But they feel really good about themselves as they start this 7-game road trip.
So they take down the Cardinals for the 3rd time in 4 matchups this year. They'll meet again tomorrow. 4:05 first pitch, Maeda and Waka. They'll go gunning for a 6th consecutive win. They'll try to make it 11 of 13. For Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from St. Louis. Enjoy the final hours of your Memorial Day weekend.